Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber, and today we're obviously talking about the fact that Global has another week, and another week means another banner, and another banner right now means Kain, Rosa, and, well, Cecil's already there, but Demon Wall too. So I'm going to talk about all three of these things, talk about what I think their strong points are, their weak points are, and last but not least, I'm going to give you some alternatives in the future that you should potentially wait and pull for. And I'm just going to let you guys decide. You guys are all big boys and big girls, and you can decide whether or not you want to use your hard-earned resources on these characters or wait for something in the future. But with that being said, a big consideration for this video is the fact that EX jobs are a thing, and they're not particularly a thing I like. As a matter of fact, I think that EX jobs are pretty awful in terms of just thinking about the game. So yeah, if you're very curious about what I think about all of this, well, yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now that I got some mixed feelings when it comes to collaboration units, because I've been playing the game since day one on the JP side, and collaborations include FF4, Tactics twice, Final Fantasy 1, and Final Fantasy 10 and Final Fantasy 4. So all of these characters. But out of all the collaboration characters that I've had an experience with, Kain is an investment that I still don't feel even the slightest bit bad. Even on the JP side, for the fact that he has counters, like other units just counter him now, it doesn't matter. Kain is just an incredibly strong unit that gets stuff done, and anytime a unit has a spear weakness, Kain actually, even without spear weaknesses, I'm basically always trying to find Kain in a party. So Dragoon, Viking, Paladin, this guy is incredibly tough and hard to kill. And is mainly because of his Paladin kit, which just gives him a lot of defensive power and guts, allowing him to survive a fatal hit. Dragoon's Bane can cause slow against enemies. He has a way to reduce healing power, and he can cause confusion. All of these things just basically mean that Kain is a real pain in the ass in every piece of content. And to that extent, I just gotta say that Kain is just a really absolutely solid get. Even with characters that are countering him in the future, again, I think that he's just really incredibly powerful and really, really good. Downsides to him, it's going to cost you resources. Really, I don't think that there's a ton of downsides to Kain. I think he's great on multiple terrain types, just because being a Dragoon just gives him natural, really good movement across some fields. Jump abilities are incredibly powerful here, much more powerful than Victoria, and the fact that he has status effects, but he can also get, some good stuff in his sub-job. Like, basically, you always just run him as Paladin, because Guts is just way too strong of an effect. Yeah, Kain is just a character that I've had no regrets on the JP side developing, even with Sakura coming out after. With that being said, talk about this guy's counters. I mean, Sakura should be coming relatively shortly after the Final Fantasy IV event ends. She is a direct counter to him. And that's kind of the character that I would recommend people think about. Like, in terms of if you are not really big on spears and you're more on magic, Sakura is a potentially really good build. Sakura is incredibly powerful. She has high magic damage. She can do AoE. She is a much better farmer. Kain is essentially just, for high difficulty stuff, and not only high difficulty stuff, but he is essentially really good in PvP and PvE content. So yeah, I can't recommend Kain enough, but for people who are looking for other ways or other characters potentially in the future, I would even throw in some characters that are not the same damage type, but if you're looking for a more off damage type than Mage, because Sakura, obviously, if you want to counter everybody with Kain, you're going to want Sakura, but if you're looking for someone else, I think that Larudo, the firefighter character on the JP side who will be coming in the future, is a really interesting get, not to mention Elsie, who is a great sword user, who is a sword enabler character. There are a lot of other really strong physical DPS, so if you're feeling like you have to get Kain, you don't. There are lots of strong characters in the near future for Global. So, and not to mention Christmas is coming up too, so if you're not feeling going in on Kane, don't worry about it. But if you are wanting to go for Kane, no complaints. Absolutely zero complaints. Not going to say anything. Next up is Rosa. And Rosa is a healer. And honestly, I'm really incredibly split on Rosa. Not because I have her. As a matter of fact, I passed on her for Kane on the JP side. I think that Rosa is a really good healer. I think that she is kind of an awesome healer for the fact that she stays back and out of the, field of damage, the fact that she can support an ice group. If you're looking for Auron from Final Fantasy X in the future, Rosa and Auron, what a cute couple they would be. Much better than Rosa and Cecil in this case. I think that in general, a lot of what made Rosa really appealing kind of fell a little bit flat. Her status effects, I've never heard anybody sing incredibly high praises on the JP side. That's not to say it's bad, I just don't think it's quite as good. Holy here, well, we'll talk about why I'm not incredibly impressed with Holy. But last but not least, her limit burst, which was kind of the most interesting thing about her, just doesn't generate that much AP. It requires units to be directly around her. I don't think that's always going to happen. So yeah, I think that there are really strong points and really kind of not so strong points in Rosa's kit. That's not to say she's bad or you shouldn't necessarily want her. I just think that overall she didn't quite measure up. But really, the thing that makes it hard to recommend Rosa incredibly is because Yuna exists. On the JP side, Yuna is so incredibly powerful. Yuna does feel like a next generation healer who just happens to have incredibly high damage output. Her Holy is much better because it has Darkness Killer on Yuna. So I think that in general, like if you're looking for a much stronger healer and a much more durable healer, it's definitely Yuna. Yuna, it's not even like a contest. It's night and day thing here. So Rosa, again, I don't think that she's bad. It's just that the future, what we know about Yuna, just makes it harder to recommend. All right, and last but not least is Demon Wall here, who has a limited bestowed effect, activation requirements up, Kane only, Pierce attack power up. Cecil and Rosa get attack up. Dark units get attack up, so really this is a buff to the summoning, thank goodness, because Demon Wall on the JP side was more of a defensive summon, and one that was kind of interesting. I think that, he paired still pretty well with Kain because Kain was pretty defensive, but I feel like in terms of recommending stuff, Demon Wall is a 100% recommendation for if you are getting Kain, and I know that makes Kain more expensive, but just the fact that they gave basically some extra power up for equipping it to Kain makes this just considerably more valuable. Taking a look at other other Spear Espers, I think you're just going to get more out of this. It's not to say that Demon Wall is just really good, but Demon Wall makes Kain tankier, which is one of the things that it really works well for Kain because he's already physically strong enough. You don't really have to worry about that. He's got good status effects and all of that. It's just that you really want to protect Kain as much as you can so he can do as much damage as possible and get the longest value out of Guts. So yeah, I'm going to just call it right now that I think this is a great buff for the summon, makes it way more valuable, and I think that just really, really strong for Kain, both the card and the summon. So yeah, right here, I think that it is just really good if you're getting Kain. As for Cecil and Rosa, Rosa's attack up isn't quite that important. You could make an argument for Cecil getting attack up because I think that would definitely help Cecil out, become more valuable. But yeah, if you're really wondering if I think this is incredible or not, really I think it's a 100% get for Kain, and everyone else is just kind of, all right. So yeah, taking a look at the global side here, there is a big thing, and I've talked about this in multiple videos now, so I'm not going to drone on too much longer about this. I do think that with Christmas coming up, there are going to be, Christmas limited units, potentially Christmas limited vision cards, Christmas limited summons. So you should be careful about how much you're spending, not to mention that you should be kind of saving up for the 1-year anniversary and some of the stuff that's coming there, not to mention that Elsie, Gabby, Gabriel on the JP side, sorry, and Elserain. I think that there is a lot of, and Sakura, there's a lot of strong characters, Laruto, in the very near future that potentially may be a little more interesting, that potentially just may be a little bit easier on the resources because they are story characters or they're non-limited characters, so you can build them over a longer period of time. But really, it's your guys' choice. You make the call about what you want to spend on, what you want to get. But yeah. So anyway, let me know, are you going to be getting Elsie, or not Elsie or Gabby? What video am I making? Are Kane or Rosa, are you going to be going for them? Are you going to be getting some other character too? Either, either, both, all three, all of that is Final Fantasy IV your jam. Either way, hope you guys are lucky with your polls, and yeah, see you next time. Take care.